So yeah, I'm gonna go kind of quick through this stuff. What we'll talk about today, me, my background, kind of my strengths in TA, strategies to use in manufacturing, a little story about something I've done, recruiting and manufacturing, metrics, and then some Q&A. So professionally, I've been in sourcing 11 years. I studied film and creative writing in college, and for about 2 years out of college, I couldn't find like a good, stable job. And then I randomly found my way into sourcing, and ever since then, I've loved to help job seekers, not only because I know what it's like, and I know what it was like being out of work for 2 years, but I've also been laid off twice in the past 4 years. So I know what it's like. I love helping other people find jobs. I like going through people on layoff lists and just helping people find new jobs and making sure there's not too much time in between. So I've kind of worked for everything. I've done RPO, corporate agency, started out in banking, did manufacturing, veterinary, dairy, tech, pharma, a little bit of everything. Spoken at some different conferences and webinars, done dueling sourcers, um, I've done some blog posts for SourceCon and other places too. My name's pretty rare, so if you type in Mikey Weil, you'll find my LinkedIn or any other kind of, sourcing and TA related stuff. I also run a newsletter about bi-weekly. It's for job seekers and TA people, and it, goes over TA openings, how to make yourself stand out, tips and tricks and things like that. Personal background, I live outside of Boston with my partner and our three boys. And then we also have three dogs as well. So we have Jaeger, who's a 15-year-old pug, Griswold, who's a 5-year-old Pekingese, and Glitch, who will be 2 in December. I grew up in New Hampshire, went to college outside of Boston, studied abroad. I was out in Denver for 7 years, and now I'm back in Massachusetts. I sometimes post on LinkedIn about my side stuff. I started publishing children's books recently. I run an entertainment website and I like to, do a lot of creative stuff on the side. So I like to share that on LinkedIn too and kind of show people my outside of work life as well. And yeah, if I'm not doing stuff with the family, I'm pretty much either out at concerts or movies. And music and movies I can talk about forever. I'm doing one horror movie a night right now for October too. So if anybody's curious about what I'm watching or wants to talk horror, let me know. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, so my background in manufacturing, I first worked for Agco. They're competitor of John Deere and Caterpillar. Their bigger tractors are Massey Ferguson. You might have seen that name. Out in Denver, I worked for about 2.5 years for the largest mozzarella manufacturer in the world. Story about that later. And then right now, I currently work for Novo Nordisk, which is the largest diabetes treatment company. So 11 years of experience. I have done other stuff too, like I said, veterinary, tech, banking, but this is most of my experience is working for these manufacturing companies. My strengths, the manufacturing, hiring for rural areas. That's the big thing. When I worked for Agco, I worked a lot in Kansas and Illinois. Right now, I hire specifically for a plant in New Hampshire. When I was at Leprino, I hired for New Mexico, Colorado, California. I would say also getting people to relocate, referrals, and offline marketing. So referrals are responsible for 60% of hires. Of course, that number is subjective. It depends. But for me, one of the roles I work on now is facilities technician for their plant, New Hampshire. And that role has filled itself 60% based off of referrals. We all know, we all tell job seekers these days, if you're looking for a new job, it's all about referrals. And that's definitely true. So if you're on the TA side and you want to kind of boost up your referrals, the best thing to do is ask your employees, talk to them about the different referral platforms and fees that you have hiring managers share a link with their networks. Every time I try to propose this, the hiring manager will, push back a little bit and say, "Isn't it your job to be doing this?" And it's like, "Yeah, but we're all trying to hire. That's our end goal is to get people hired for your team." And if you think about it, that hiring manager probably came from a competitor or two, and their whole entire network is just filled with people that are going to work for some of your roles. So I make it even easier. If I want, a hiring manager to work and help me with some referrals, I'll create a post for them to copy and paste. It's hard for them to say no when you're so easily giving them a copy and paste for their LinkedIn or email that just says, here's the role. You can also send them your own roles posted on LinkedIn, encourage them to a share, and do this with your team as well. Everybody works under the HM. If I'm working on a facilities role, encouraging all the facilities people to share with their network. Have luncheons with your company, keep driving that referral program. At companies in the past, I put together a little thing that shows you, hey, for $2,000, if you refer somebody, you get $2,000. Here are all the things you can do with $2,000. Giving people that kind of thing to say, you can go overseas on a European 10-day vacation. You can, I don't know, redo your driveway or this or that. Giving people that kind of, image of what they could do is going to incentivize them a little more. External referrals, ask your applicants for referrals. If you are working in manufacturing, you're probably working on evergreen roles. So you're working on roles where you're hiring 5, 10, 15 people for that same role. When you're interviewing people, when they're in the process, ask them who else they know. Also tell them you're not going to be competing to get a job with these people. You're going to be working alongside them. So what other people with your background do you know? We want to interview them. We'd love to have you guys work together. Ask your friends for referrals. I live about 2.5 hours from the plant I work for. So I can't do too much on the ground efforts, but still it's kind of the town and area that I'm from. So I can, post in my town Facebook groups and talk to friends and have them share it with people. Social media networks. LinkedIn, of course, is a good one. Post on there. Don't just post asking for people to apply. Encourage people to tag friends in the comments. Who do you know? Things like that. Ask your disinterested people for referrals. So anytime somebody gets back to me, I'm not interested right now. I don't want to relocate. That shift isn't, what I'm looking for. I'm like, who do you know? Who do you know is looking for work? And usually just asking that, who do you know? Do you know of anybody who's laid off? Do you have any family who's looking for something? That right there kind of clicks with them. And they're like, oh, actually, I do know somebody. Here's their information. If you're working on manufacturing, everybody wants to see veterans. There's so many reasons for it. One of them, big one, just being, hard workers, dedicated. They work well in teams, motivated, timely, bunch of different reasons. So for me, I hire a lot of veterans for our manufacturing and facilities roles. So for me, I'm on places like Indeed, LinkedIn, and Hire Easy, using filters on there to look for veterans. On Indeed, you can message 10 veterans for free each month, which is a pretty cool perk. So out of your X amount a month, 10 of those can be veterans, which is cool. Post roles to veteran job boards. Many of them are free, which is awesome. Network with transitioning veteran groups in your area. So network with them to the point where anytime you have a new role open, you can go to that group, see who's leaving the military, who's now looking for a civilian job, and can get that person right in the door for an interview. And then attend career fairs for veterans too. We'll talk more about career fairs too. Offline marketing, I mean, I'm a big kind of offline marketing. I'm not at the age where I sourced back in the day of Rolodexes and offline no internet, but I did come shortly after that where we were still putting up ads and putting up flyers, and I really, do like doing that. So newspapers, you have print and digital. Radio, you can advertise AM, FM, satellite, college. Billboards. I talked about this at a conference, and somebody came up after and told me about billboards, which was awesome. You can put a billboard on there in any area for as much or as little money as you want. Benches, buses, bus stops, airports, everything like that. Think about real estate. They're on benches. Think about all the ads that you see on buses. Those things are seen by so many people. On billboards, you can actually look at a billboard and it will tell you how many cars drive by every day, how much traffic, how many eyes are going to see it. So that's pretty cool. Career fairs, college students, of course, we go to a lot of career fairs, and each one we usually get between 30 to 60 emails from students that we can start networking with for internships or post-grad opportunities. Handshake has their own career fair as well on their platform, but it's also about more than just posting. So it's more than just posting on Handshake or attending a career fair. It's about starting relationships with those colleges, with alumni, with the deans of the programs of people you want to hire from, professors, career development people. Career fairs for veterans. We just did one with Recruit Military. It was a virtual one for the whole East Coast, and we were able to connect with a bunch of veterans, which was awesome. Hold career fairs for local job seekers. So that's a big one you can do. And don't just join other ones. You can do Handshake's career fair. You can do a college career fair. Hold one locally in your area. Hold one at your, plant or your office or library, and interview people. That's what we're talking about here. So resume editing services, you can hold them at colleges for upcoming students. You know, a lot of students are not taught, we all know this, are not taught what the real world is like and how to apply for jobs and how to network and how to do all these things. So go to a college and teach the students and help them with their resumes, you know, and encourage them, you know, to take the right steps to network and find the right people. Veteran fairs, find those in the area, hold resume editing services, hold them at the town library, hold them at your office. And then with that, you know, you might not find everybody for your roles, but if you have 50, 60 people you help out and 7 or 8 of them can go in your CRM and could be relevant for roles, that's a huge thing. Um, and yeah, with these resume editing services, it can be for students for either internships or full-time opportunities, veterans, job seekers. So this is just a great thing to do. We all know what a resume should look like. We all know what hiring managers look for in a resume. So this is definitely a good way to kind of help out and help your community, but also be able to help fill some of your roles as well. Keep track of local companies, including your competitors. So set up Google alerts for your competitors for when they're going through layoffs, closings, restructurings, you know, buyouts, acquisitions, and connect with HR at these local companies. Don't just do it when they're going through layoffs, but build out a list of all of the HR people at all of your competitors. So when you do hear there's a layoff, you reach out to that HR person. Hey, here you're laying off. We're hiring a bunch of new warehouse people. Can we help transition those people? It seems awkward at first, you know, that kind of approach, but they don't want to be laying off people. They're going to get back to you and be like, yeah, let's help get them in the door. You know, how can we get get them to apply? What do you need us to do next? And it's just a great way to, you know, work with your local community. You can sponsor local things to drive, you know, people to your company. So you can sponsor a race in your area, a farmer's market. Usually go to a farmer's market and there's always a local company that's on the sponsor there. Holiday gatherings, you know, do a Christmas tree lighting or something like that. Donating a new landmark, you know, put some money into a park in your area, a playground, a highway, have your company name there as, hey, your company donated this park, and that gets people to kind of think about your company, learn more about your company. You know, just advertising. Get social. So, you know, in Facebook, Nextdoor, Meetup, I say the biggest thing you have to do is be cautious of their roles. Don't go on Facebook groups and just post a ton of jobs. In meetup groups, don't go meet up and be like, I'm a recruiter who's looking for jobs. Nextdoor, read the rules around that. But for Nextdoor, you can read about, you know, who's looking for jobs, what companies have gone through layoffs. Meetups, you can go to meetup groups and, you know, manufacturing people. Go in there, sit, listen to what they're talking about. Are they complaining about their shifts, or are they complaining about you know, overtime? Are they complaining about, you know, benefits? And then from there, you can learn about the other companies in the area. And then Facebook, you know, like I said, my hometown's about an hour and a half from the plant that I work for. So I can go in that group and say, hey, you know, we're hiring. If anybody's looking for something new, let me know. Social media ads. I've started doing these this year for our plant, Facebook and LinkedIn. Super great. You make a landing page, people click on it, they go right into your CRM, and then you can just send them an email. And you can spend as much or as little as you want. You can put $10 into an ad, you can put $10,000 into an ad. You can do it all over a day, spread it out over a week. And the biggest thing is getting buy-in from your managers for these things, you know, budget-wise and new tools and new platforms. So start small, track your numbers, and then you can get kind of a bigger budget. Certifications and license. When I worked for a dentistry or a veterinarian company, I knew every veterinary, you know, certification and license website, and that's how I'd source people. You know, right now I hire pharmacy technicians, I hire plumbers, HVAC, electrician, all these people I hire for my current roles. So with that, I can go on there and find people that might not be on Indeed or LinkedIn or Hire Easy or anywhere else. More people that are, you know, not as public on there, but you still have, you know, their information and they're verified. So when you're going on other websites and looking at people, you don't know, is this person still an electrician? Are they still certified? When you go on these boards, you can tell who's currently certified and then focus on, you know, those people who are, you know, active. Hang up postings. So putting up flyers with QR codes. Think about places that your candidates go to a lot. Who are you hiring? What is their background? So like I said, we hire veterans, hanging up flyers in veteran affair places. And then just think about places that everyone goes to, not even your candidates, but everybody goes grocery shopping. People go to gyms, laundromats, they go to pet stores, they go to schools. Print out the little paper and bring it around and hang up those flyers with a quick call to action. Most places will say yes and let you hang up something for free. And metrics, it's all about keeping track of everything. So like I said, with Facebook ads, keep track of how many, clicks you're getting, how many applicants you're getting. The more data you can provide to your senior leaders, the better. That's the biggest thing I can recommend. So track everything, even things that can't be tracked, track them in any way that you can. So if you're now posting on a billboard, add into your ATS, how did you hear about our job? Billboard. And if you don't have that in there, even if you do, make sure that when people are starting, one of the new onboarding questions is, how did you actually hear about this job? We get so many people to apply for jobs, and then, they apply and it says, how'd you hear about us? LinkedIn. How'd you hear about us? Google. And it's like, no, I sourced this person. So when people are applying for jobs, if they saw you on a billboard or saw you on a park bench or something, they're not going to probably scroll to look at that and select that. So when you are doing onboarding, it should be easy enough. You're not going to have thousands of new people onboarding every month. For that small group, have the onboarding specialist person ask them, how did you hear about us? If somebody can say, oh, billboard. Oh, I saw your flyer downtown. You can now bring that to your managers and say, hey, this is working. Let's do more of this. Quick story here. When I worked for the cheese company, we had a plant down in Roswell, New Mexico, which was super cool. I'm from New Hampshire, which is the most abductee state. And then I lived in Colorado, which is the most UFO sightings or something like that. So I'm super into aliens. I went to Roswell twice for work. And a lot of the employees there were like, sorry, you had to come down here for work. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I went down there and I just absolutely loved it. But what I did was I flew from Denver to El Paso, Texas, rented a car, and then I drove from El Paso to Roswell. And on the way, I visited colleges, career centers. I put flyers up around town. I got to know career service people at colleges. So when I had new roles opened, I was like, hey, this is Mikey. We met a few months ago. We're looking to hire these people. I see you have a new graduating class. And the gift shop there was really cool too. I'll leave some questions here in a sec and I'll try to open the chat too. But I just want to give a shout out to Hire EZ for this conference and definitely make sure to follow them. And you can follow me too on LinkedIn or my newsletter.